The story you think you know about Apple Intelligence, that it's all about privacy, is just the surface. The real story isn't about marketing promise. It's about a fundamental engineering breakthrough, born from a strict privacy-first principle, designed to make trust obsolete. Apple's approach isn't asking you to believe them when they say your data is safe. They've built a system where you don't have to. Think of a vault, so perfectly designed, it can't be opened, even by the people who built it. That is the core of Apple Intelligence. So, let's break down the two pillars that make this privacy-first architecture possible: the incredibly powerful on-device processing and the revolutionary system they call private cloud compute. This is how Apple just redefined the game for artificial intelligence. The on-device brain. To grasp what makes Apple's approach so radical, you have to start with the silicon. Buried inside the latest iPhones, iPads, and Macs is Apple's custom chip, and a critical part of that chip is the neural engine. A general-purpose processor is like a multi-tool. It can do a lot of things reasonably well. The neural engine is different. It's a specialized instrument, built for one purpose: the complex mathematics of machine learning. This is where the first tier of Apple Intelligence lives, a foundation model with roughly 3 billion parameters that runs entirely on your device. In an industry that boasts about models with hundreds of billions of parameters, 3 billion might seem modest. But this isn't a limitation. It's a deliberate design choice. Think of it as the difference between a vast public library you have to commute to and a curated personal library sitting right on your desk. Fast, private, and always available, even without an internet connection. This on-device model handles most of your everyday interactions, adjusting the tone of an email, summarizing a flood of notifications, designing a custom Genmoji, all of it happening right there in your hand, never leaving your device. The result is near instantaneous speed and a level of privacy that is, at this layer, absolute. But even the smartest phone has its limits. So what happens when a task becomes too complex to handle on the device alone? The inevitable limit and the genius solution. The on-device model is fast, efficient, and private, but it has a ceiling. It's like a brilliant personal assistant who knows your life inside and out, but hasn't read every book in the world. Ask it something deeply complex, something that requires cross-referencing massive amounts of information or multi-step reasoning across the entire internet, and it hits a wall. This is the core trade-off in modern AI. To get truly powerful, world-aware intelligence, you need the computational horsepower of the cloud. But the second your data leaves your device and lands on a server, you've historically lost control. It's like sending a personal diary through the mail. You have to trust everyone who touches it along the way. For Apple, that trade-off was never acceptable. Their answer is a system called private cloud compute, and it may be the most sophisticated security architecture ever built for cloud AI at this scale. Not just another server farm, an entirely new category of cloud computing, designed to carry your iPhone's privacy guarantees all the way into the cloud itself. The private cloud compute deep dive. So, how do you build a cloud that doesn't require trust? You start by constructing it from the same secure DNA as your most personal device. The servers running private cloud compute are built using custom Apple silicon. This is like assembling a fortress, where every brick is a miniature, unbreachable safe. Each server incorporates the same hardware-level security features as an iPhone, including the secure enclave and secure boot, meaning privacy isn't just a software layer. It's burned into the silicon. The second, and more radical breakthrough, is how private cloud compute processes information. The system is built on a principle called stateless computation. Imagine the server as a brilliant consultant with acute short-term memory loss. When your phone needs to offload a heavy task, it sends only the essential data, encrypted, to a private cloud compute node. The server performs the task in a secure, isolated environment. The moment the job is finished, the server sends the result back, and all traces of your data are forensically deleted. The server retains nothing. Not the question, not the data, not even a record of the interaction. Your data is never written to storage. No logs are kept. There is literally no place for an engineer to save it. This is what makes the system trustless. Apple has architecturally designed the system to prevent access to your information, not for a curious employee, not even for Apple's own engineers. To back this up, Apple has taken the unprecedented step of allowing independent security experts to inspect the code running on its private cloud compute servers. They've even posted a bounty of up to $1 million for anyone who can find a critical vulnerability. So far, no researcher has been able to claim it. It's like a magician not only explaining the trick, but also handing you the props, the blueprints, and $1 million check if you can prove any sleight of hand was involved. What this means in practice. How does this all work together? In a word, seamlessly. When you make a request, Apple Intelligence first analyzes it on your device. If it can be handled locally, it is. Only if it requires more computational power is the relevant data sent to private cloud compute. You never choose which layer handles your request. The system decides silently in milliseconds, defaulting always to the most private option available. This is also the key to understanding Apple's external partnerships. Apple has integrated third-party models, like ChatGPT, and is bringing Google's Gemini models into Siri. When you opt to use one of these external models, your device asks for permission on a per-request basis. If you consent, Apple's system acts as a privacy shield. It masks your IP address and other identifying information before the query is forwarded to the external provider. So while your request isn't processed by private cloud compute, the core privacy protections are still designed to act as a gatekeeper. It's a privacy-centric layer designed to let Apple collaborate with other AI providers without compromising its core promise. The grand strategy. Here is what makes this genuinely significant. Every major AI company right now is caught in the same loop. To make their models smarter, they need more data. To get more data, they need more users. To keep users, they need smarter models. It's a cycle that has one quiet cost. Your privacy is the fuel that keeps it running. Apple has built an exit ramp out of that loop, not by making a weaker AI, but by engineering a system where the fuel source changes entirely. Instead of your data feeding the machine, your device becomes the machine. And when it needs outside help, the architecture is designed so that help arrives without knowing who asked for it. This puts every other AI company in an uncomfortable position. Because if Apple proves this model works at scale, it reframes the entire industry's approach as a choice, not a necessity. Collecting your data was never the only way to build powerful AI. It was just the easiest way. And Apple is betting that as people become more aware of what that trade-off actually costs them, the easiest way will stop being the most popular one. That is the real paradigm shift, not a feature, not a product, a direct challenge to the assumption the entire industry was built on. Where the theory meets reality. This is Apple's privacy-first philosophy in practice. On paper, it's one of the most elegant solutions ever devised for the problem of private AI. A system where data is processed and then disappears. Where even Apple's own engineers are locked out of your data. Where trust isn't something you give, but something the architecture enforces on your behalf. But this brings us to the question no one can answer yet. Apple has confirmed a partnership to integrate Google's Gemini AI into Siri, reportedly worth around $1 billion a year. The same Google whose business model has long depended on knowing as much as possible about its users. Apple insists that its privacy architecture will remain intact, and that your data will stay within their secure ecosystem, regardless of which model is used for processing. And from a technical standpoint, this is plausible. But it leaves us with a lingering, crucial question. Can a privacy-first system truly remain so when the brain doing the thinking is licensed from another company? Is the architecture strong enough to render that partnership a non-issue from a privacy perspective? Or is this the first hairline crack in the foundation? Nobody outside of Apple and its partners knows the complete answer, and that, more than any single technical detail, is what makes Apple Intelligence one of the most fascinating stories in tech right now. If you want more deep dives into the technology that is actually shaping our future, make sure you subscribe and drop your answer in the comments. Do you think Apple's architecture is strong enough to hold? Or does the Google deal change everything? See you in the next one.